Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into something that could put a bit of extra cash back in your pocket: uniform tax relief. If you wear a uniform for work, you'll want to stick around for this. This whole discussion is brought to you by the experts over at Pro Tax Accountant. All right, let's just kick things off with a pretty staggering number. HMRC, the taxman, estimates that a whopping 4.8 million workers in the UK are eligible for this tax break, but they're not claiming it. That is a huge amount of people just leaving money on the table. So the big question is, are you one of them? And like I said, guiding us through all the ins and outs today is the expertise of Pro Tax Accountant. They're absolute pros at helping people make sense of the, let's be honest, sometimes confusing world of UK taxes. So what's on the agenda today? Well, here's the game plan. We're going to start with the basics. What even is this thing? Then we'll get into the golden rules of who can claim. After that, I'll walk you through exactly how to get your rebate. We'll even cover some pro tips for a bigger payout, look at the common mistakes you need to avoid, and finally, where to go for expert help. Let's get into it. Okay, first things first. What exactly are we talking about here? Let's strip away all the jargon and get right to the heart of what uniform tax relief is and how it works for you. Honestly, it's way simpler than it sounds. So, in a nutshell, this is HMRC's way of giving you a bit of money back for the cost of keeping your work uniform in good shape. Now, the key word here is upkeep. We're talking about washing it, repairing a tear, or replacing it because of normal wear. It's not for buying the uniform in the first place. Think of it like HMRC saying, hey, if you have to spend your own money to look the part for your job, we don't think you should pay tax on that expense. So, the million-dollar question, or maybe the 12-pound question: how much money are we actually talking about? For most jobs, there's a standard flat rate allowance of £60 a year. As you can see, if you pay the basic rate of tax, you get 20% of that back, which is £12. If you're a higher rate taxpayer, you get 40% back, so that's £24. Now, I know, it might not sound like a life-changing amount, but hold on. Remember, you can backdate this for up to 4 previous years. It all starts to add up. And this is where it gets really interesting. That £60 allowance, that's just the starting line. A lot of jobs have a much, much higher allowance because HMRC knows that their gear is more expensive to maintain. Stay with me here. The next point might surprise you. Okay, let's get to the most important part, right? Could you actually be claiming this? HMRC has some very clear, non-negotiable rules. So let's break down these golden rules and you can see if you tick all the boxes. All right, here are the 3 big ones you have to meet. Rule number 1, it has to be a recognizable uniform. Think something that makes it obvious what you do, or specialist clothing you need for your job. Rule number 2, you personally have to be paying to clean it, fix it, or replace it. And rule number 3, and this is crucial, your employer isn't already paying you back for it. So if they have a laundry service or they give you an allowance, then I'm afraid you probably can't claim. You have to be out of pocket. Now, this is where people get tripped up all the time, so let's make this crystal clear. What counts as a uniform? Well, have a look. A polo shirt with a company logo. Yes. A nurse's scrubs or a police officer's kit? Absolutely. The simple test is, would you wear this out on your day off? If the answer is no, it's probably a uniform. On the flip side, a plain black t-shirt or a smart suit, even if your boss tells you to wear it, doesn't count. HMRC just sees that as everyday clothing. And remember what I said about some jobs getting more? Well, take a look at these numbers. We're talking a whole different league. Pilots can have an allowance of over £1,000. Nurses and ambulance staff are looking at between £125 and £185. Even joiners and engineers can claim £140. If you're in one of these industries, your rebate is going to be way more than that standard 12 quid. Okay, here's a fantastic little pro tip for you. That company logo, it makes all the difference. Honestly, a permanently stitched on or printed logo can be the single thing that gets your claim approved. Why? Because it's proof to HMRC that it's not just a regular t-shirt. It is undeniably work-specific clothing. Convinced you might be eligible? Excellent. Now let's look at the next step. How do you actually get your hands on the money? Don't worry, this isn't some super complicated tax nightmare. The process is surprisingly straightforward, and you definitely don't need to be an accountant to do it. The quickest and, frankly, easiest way to do this is online. You just use what HMRC calls the I-form. You log into your government gateway account, find the section for claiming job expenses, fill in a few details about your job and the tax years, and hit submit. That's it. You'll usually get your rebate within about 2 to 6 weeks. For most people, this is the way to go. Now, if you're not a fan of doing things online, or maybe you just prefer pen and paper, you can still use the good old-fashioned postal method with a form called a P87. You can download it from the government website, fill it out, and send it off. And a nice little touch is that you don't even need a stamp. Just be aware, this way is a bit slower. You're probably looking at a wait of around 6 to 12 weeks. Okay, listen up, because this bit is absolutely crucial. As I mentioned, you can backdate your claim for 4 previous tax years, but each of those years has a strict deadline. Look at that first one. The claim for the 2020 to 2021 tax year has to be in by the 5th of April, 2025. If you miss that date, that year's money is gone forever. So please, don't put this off. So, you know the rules, you know how to claim, but how do you make sure you're getting every single penny that you're owed? Stay with me, because this is where you can really boost your rebate and turn a small refund into something much more worthwhile. Here are 4 expert tips to maximize that claim. First, and I can't say this enough, always backdate it for the full 4 years if you can. Second, double, even triple check that you're claiming the right allowance for your specific job. Don't just settle for the standard 60 pounds. Third, think about bundling other expenses. Do you buy your own tools? Pay for professional subscriptions? You can often claim for those at the same time. And finally, if you've had more than one job with a uniform in those years, make sure you claim for each one. Let's put this into a real-world example. Meet Sarah. She's a nurse. Her allowance is 125 pounds a year. She realizes she can claim for the last 4 years plus the current tax year, so that's 5 years in total. At the basic 20% tax rate, she gets 25 pounds back per year. You multiply that by 5 years, and she gets a nice little lump sum of 125 pounds, all just for filling in a simple form. That's a real-world example of what's possible. We've covered all the good stuff, but that's not all. Here's where most people go wrong. Let's quickly run through the most common mistakes that can get your claim delayed, or worse, flat out rejected by HMRC. We don't want that to happen to you. So these are the big 4 pitfalls to avoid. Number 1, trying to claim for your regular clothes. Number 2, forgetting that your employer already covers the costs with a laundry service or an allowance. Number 3, just guessing your allowance rate instead of looking it up on the gov.uk list. And number 4, the one we just talked about, missing that critical 4-year deadline. Steer clear of these, and you should be golden. And here's a very important update for 2025 you need to know about. The good news is the online I-form is back, making things quicker. The catch? HMRC is cracking down on fraud, so they're being much stricter about how you describe your job. Vague terms like retail worker might get your claim flagged for review. You need to be specific. So instead of retail assistant, write something like supermarket checkout operator wearing a branded uniform. The more detail, the better. Phew, okay. We have covered a ton of ground today, from what this relief is to who can get it and how to get the biggest payout possible. So what's your next move? Well, for some of you, it might be heading straight to the government website to put in that claim. But for others, you might still have a few questions. And if you do have questions, or maybe your situation is a bit more complicated, getting some expert help is always a smart move. The team at ProTax Accountant are brilliant and can help you with this or any other tax questions you might have. You can reach them on WhatsApp or give them a call on the number you see on screen, 07985 689912, or just drop them an email at info@protaxaccountant.co.uk. I really hope this has been helpful for you, and if it has, don't forget to subscribe for more simple breakdowns like this. Thanks for watching.